What's up guys, Jack here, and today I'm going to walk you through some standard setups on maps and things that you're going to want to do when you're defending certain bomb sites in CSGO. First off, we're going to start with Mirage. So you head onto the A bomb site on Mirage, and one of the first things you want to try and do is smoke the ramp area. Now most teams, if not all teams you play against, will always do this. It makes rushing the ramp a lot harder because of course the defending team can see you coming out of the smoke way before you can see them. It won't always stop players from rushing though, it's not a brick wall, so you'll still need to be prepared that players might be rushing through it at any point. I'd also suggest having your teammate flash the ramp at the same time you're putting down the smoke, so if they are coming, they're certainly going to be fairly blind. If you're noticing they are constantly attacking the ramp area at the beginning of the round, then double grenading the ramp or even throwing a Molotov down there should make them think twice about pushing too fast. Likewise, after you've done it a few times and they've stopped rushing, don't carry on wasting grenades, hold them back. The same thing applies for the apartment area, but I would hold off smoking this straight away because if you go near the balcony, you can hear if a player is rushing the palace area, and if they aren't rushing, well, it's going to take slightly longer to get to the app, so save your smoke for a little later. Smoke grenades only last around 15 seconds, and in matchmaking the timer is at 2 minutes, so of course ideally you want to spread your grenades out as much as possible. Also, if you've got an AWPer in mid and you can call an enemy player in apartments, he can always move to spot apartments from jungle or stairs to try and get a pick. If they do happen to rush though, the balcony guy can be very useful. If you're underneath, just pop a flash off the wall and it will hopefully blind anyone coming up the ramp. Again, Molotovs can be used here to stop people pushing apartments fast. Also, get into the habit of using your grenades with your teammates who are playing on the same bomb site. So communicate and talk about what you want to grenade, and if for instance ramp is being pushed a lot, then maybe you want to both use your grenades for ramp and just leave apartments unsmoked. So one of you would smoke at the start of the round and then the second would re-smoke the ramp later on. One could smoke and the second would be ready with a Molotov if the enemy's pushed. It just takes a little bit of communication to make the most out of your grenades. Okay, so you've smoked off the ramp and you've potentially smoked off the apartments, but what about you? Where do you stand? Well, there are a few spots players will commonly use. On the A bomb site behind the main 3 crates is quite common and you can pop in and out to check both ramp and apartments. The only problem with this spot is that you're vulnerable from connector if you don't have good middle control. You can play a little further forward as well behind the first 3 crates, and this is a fairly good spot to hold players pushing up the ramp, but you do need good apps control, otherwise you're going to get swamped. If you're feeling frisky, you can even play on top of this box, which can be a very high risk, high reward place. Your second player can either play under balcony potentially or even on top if they want, although it's pretty vulnerable in a rush. Another common spot is the stairs area, of course. This is a fairly risky spot these days though, because a lot of players in apps will pre-fire it and also grenade it from the ramp because it's so common. You're also at a lot more risk if you don't have an AWP, and the palace player does. You can even play in sandwich, that little position in between there, but I wouldn't recommend playing it that much because you could easily get killed from apps or from players pushing up ramp and jumping over your head. And moving on, in terms of middle control, it depends on the gun you have available. If you've got a competent AWPer, he can spot mid window and usually get there before the terrorists. If he's very confident, he can also do a pop flash into underground and jump down. Sometimes it can work really well and catch people off guard. Of course, other times it doesn't work so well. An AWPer can even get on the crate in connector and spot towards apps, which will sometimes catch a lot of the people off guard. If you've only got a rifle for mid, then you can potentially sit in connector instead, watching underground and getting support off the player from short who can flash mid and generally just try and work together with the other mid player. So on the B bomb site, as we talked about, the short player can quite often push towards short to help out. He can flash and support and also spot in connector from short if need be. A good plan is for the short guy to flash out and the mid AWPer to peek just after. He can even check underground if the mid guy is covering mid and knows it's clear. Failing all of that, pop a smoke off and fall back onto the bomb site and play around the bomb site or far back at bench depending on where your teammate is playing. Probably mix this up a lot so you're not always pushing and you're not always sitting back. Lastly, for the upper B player, usually you'll always want to smoke upper B at the start of the round to stop them from rushing through. Also, the teammate at short can give a lot of information at the beginning of a round, letting you know straight away if they're rushing, therefore enabling you to either pop off some flashes or a grenade / Molotov. If they aren't rushing, there are a few different ways that you can play it. You can sit on the car with an AWP. You can sit upper with a rifle behind the wall peeking out when you know that they're there and try just spraying them down, and you can even smoke off the top and push further into the upper area. I'd only recommend that though if you're feeling very confident. If playing it so close isn't your thing, then bench or van are the other two common spots where the B player is going to sit, with bench offering a little bit more cover overall. There's also a little crate you can jump on when on the bomb site, and you'll be able to just see into the upper window. You can get a kill here, but it can be pretty tough. It's good for information though, and maybe as a surprise to just spice things up a little bit. And don't forget the corner box that you can boost on, which is pretty useful for ecos. Lots of players do check there now though, but on an eco it's worth the risk sometimes, and players will often forget to check. And I'd say overall that what I've just covered there is a pretty standard setup for defending Mirage. It all changes quite a lot though depending on how the other team is playing, so you really got to try and adapt with your grenades. So there we go guys, I hope that helped and you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the vid, and I'll see you in the next one.